Hey credit warriors, welcome to the show. Now, having good credit can unlock a world of benefits for you, such as not having to pay a ridiculously high security deposit when you rent an apartment, being able to get a cell phone without putting down a deposit, or being able to get the best interest rates on any mortgage or car loan. Now, really, to get the best interest rates, you only need to have a credit score above 740 or maybe above 760 in some cases, but people still aim to get their credit scores as high as possible. Now, here in the United States, credit scores go up to 850, and the 800 level, what we sometimes call the 800 club, is certainly a special milestone on that road to 850. But it's not really needed because, like we said, you only need to be above 740 or perhaps 760 to receive the maximum benefit from having a high credit score. But there are different types of credit scores for different types of loans. So if you had a score in the high 700s on FICO 8 or 9, which is more commonly used for credit cards, you may have a score considerably lower on credit scores FICO 4, 2, and 5, which are commonly used for mortgages. So it is a good idea to get your generic credit score, the one you can view for free on sites like Credit Karma, etc., as high as possible. That gives you a buffer zone just in case you're applying for a mortgage and it's using a stricter algorithm, or just in case you damage your credit 1 month through reporting a high balance or through a hard inquiry on your report. There's that buffer zone of a few dozen points before you hit that 760 level or 740 and it drives you below that. So you should be aiming to make it into the 800 club, and my wife recently has done just that. For the last few months, she has been hovering just above 800, and in this video I want to go through her credit report and show you what she is doing differently to me that's getting her into the 800 club while I'm still hovering around 750. But first of all, let's recap the 5 factors of credit in the FICO scoring model. So if you're a little bit newer watching this, you know what we're talking about. So payment history accounts for 35% of how your credit score is worked out, and that's basically how many on-time payments you have in your account from all your different credit products, and if you've ever missed a payment. If you're someone who has been serious about building credit from the start, you should have never missed a payment. And this is really crucial because payment history is a high impact factor that affects your credit. If you have missed payments in the past and now you're becoming serious about building credit, just so you know, these missed payments have less effect on your score the further into the past they get. Then we have amounts owed, which is sometimes called credit utilization, and this is 30% of how your score is worked out. So basically, don't max out your credit cards, okay? Try to keep your credit utilization, okay, that's the amount of the credit limit you use on each card, below 30% and below 10% for really good improvement on your credit score. And this goes for your credit accounts overall as an average of all of them and your individual accounts. I have maxed out one card before in the name of scientific research, okay? I spent over $14,500 on a card. The limit was $15,000, so almost maxed out. And my score dropped by 60 points, okay? I'll put the video on screen. There it is. You can check it out at the end of this video, okay? I'll put it somewhere on the end card for you to check out if you're interested. Then we have a few smaller factors that are lower impact, such as length of credit history. That's 15% of how your score is worked out. Credit mix, which is what different types of accounts you have, such as credit cards, mortgages, car loans, etc. That is 10%. And then new credit, which is going to include hard credit inquiries, and that is 10% of how your score is worked out. So let's now look at my wife's Credit Karma, and we'll see exactly what factors got her to that 800 level. So her current score on Credit Karma is 802. You can see it hovers just above 800, going up and down a bit depending on what balance gets reported. Now let's look at the factors of credit that got her there. So her payment history is 100%, and that is to be expected. If it's not 100%, you have late payments, then it's going to be very hard to get to 800. Credit utilization is just 3% of her overall credit limit. Now that's another high impact factor, and thus she's at a very good level there. There are no derogatory marks on her report. Again, as expected, don't need to go further into that. Her credit age, which is actually the average age of open accounts, is just 4 years, 6 months. And this is the only one that gets a red outline from Credit Karma. This could use some work. Her total accounts is 15, although it doesn't show here. She has both credit cards and a mortgage on her report, so that's contributing positively to credit mix. And then lastly, she has just one hard inquiry, and hard inquiries, by the way, drop off your credit report after 2 years. So that's a case study of someone in the 800 club, but what factors in particular are getting her there? What factors are setting her apart from someone with a lower credit score? Well, let's contrast that with my credit report. My score is 750 on Credit Karma currently, which is still deemed excellent by them, but it's not 800. So what's holding me back? Let's delve in deeper. So like her, I have a 100% on-time payment history. Like we said, any less than 100%, you probably can't get an 800 score unless those missed payments go way into the past. Then for credit card usage, I'm at 7%. Now remember, she was at just 3%, so I'm quite a bit higher than her. And that's the average on all my cards, but that's only part of the story. We're gonna delve in a little bit deeper, and we can see I have two cards that are reporting much higher balances, 19% and 17% of their overall limit. Now I do spend more money than her, okay, so my cards tend to report a bit of higher balances. We also went on a trip to Vegas last month, so some of the spending from that trip was still on my cards, hadn't been paid off yet, so that's why my balances are a bit higher. But I did have two cards that had supposed high balances, okay, close to 20%, 19 and 17%, whereas she only had one card that was reporting a so-called high balance. It wasn't really that high, but it was still high for when you're trying to get perfect credit. But that balance was only 14%, and it was just one card. So remember this part because it is a key factor, but let's move on to some other factors, and we'll talk about this again later in the conclusion of this video. My average age of open accounts is 4 years, 3 months, only a little bit shorter than her. Remember, she was 4 years, 6 months, so I don't think that is a factor that's causing a big difference between our scores. My total accounts are 16, one more than her, and I have credit cards, a mortgage, and a car loan on my report. So I should be slightly better on credit mix, but that's a low impact factor, so I don't think it's going to make much difference for me. And now we get to the hard inquiries, and you can see I have 7 hard inquiries. You can see Credit Karma has given me a red bar here. Now, hard inquiries are a low impact factor, but whatever negative effect they can give, I can be sure that I'm getting that. So what is the reason she is more than 50 points higher than me on her credit report? Well, let's reveal the most likely reasons now. I think it's likely not to do with the hard inquiries, okay? I think the hard inquiries are contributing a little bit to me having a lower score than her. But remember, hard inquiries, they only knock off between 2 and 4 points off of your credit score, and they actually have less impact the further into the past they move, and then they drop off your credit report after 2 years. So it's probably only the hard inquiries in the past year, maybe 2 to 3 hard inquiries that are having an effect on my score. So I'm guessing the hard inquiries part of it is probably only pulling me down by about 10 points. So that still leaves 40 points between us, okay? Because 50 minus 10, then we have 40 points left. And I'm thinking that it is most probably the credit utilization part that is really playing a big role. So she was at 3% overall, I was at 7%, but I had 2 cards at close to 20% utilization, whereas she only had 1 card that was a supposed high limit, and it was only at 14%. She also had more cards than me with 0 balances as well. So don't forget, it's not just overall utilization across all your cards, but it's also if you have any cards reporting high utilization on their own. So I bet if I brought down the balances on those 2 cards to 10%, I'd probably see a 20 points increase in my score. If I brought them to 5%, maybe I would see 30 points increase. And you know, maybe I could make up the remaining points with 3 months extra on my average age of open accounts. But to be honest, I think I could do it all with credit utilization, just bringing those cards with high balances down, paying off a few cards as well. So I have a few more accounts reporting 0 on my credit report, and I would probably make up that 50 points if I get those hard inquiries off my report as well. So guys, I'm gonna try it. In the name of science, I'm gonna pay off these cards, and in a few months, I'll report back to you with a video and let you know if I made it into the 800 club or not. If you wanna see that, hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, okay? And guys, if you want to build your credit, I'll put a link to some of the best cards for fair credit, okay? Sort of credit builder cards on our partner website, creditcards.com. Do check them out. These are cards that are easy to apply for with a low credit score and will help you build your credit. If you're into building credit as well, you can also follow me on Patreon for $5 a month. You get access to my free credit building course, which is really useful. For those of you who already have, you know, a bit of a higher credit score, maybe in the 700s, but you're just trying to make it to 800, I'll put some of our top travel credit cards in the description as well for you to check out. As always, these are affiliate links. They do help out our show, so we thank you very much if you do use our links. All that stuff is below for you to check out. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.